It was a shame that in the very waning hours of the legislative session, the decision was made to avoid ruling on a number of good items at the table to put off addressing other issues. And our legislators are down there to do a job, and it seemed like that they were using a political purpose to avoid working on behalf of their constituents by shutting things down early and not addressing all the items that should have been addressed at the last of the session.
The legislation that passed had to do with human life. It was a 48-hour reflection period bill. When a woman has to make a difficult, life-changing decision that's irreversible, such as abortion, the legislature chose to give a 48-hour reflection period following the information as to the options available and the risks involved in the procedure. I think that was a step in the right direction for women and for women's health and safety. I think the worst decision by the legislature was not passing the sewer bill for Jefferson County. I think this has been a political football that has been tossed around because of people's financial interests, people in power, and it's sad, I think politically, because of maybe even some congressional race, that was postponed for another year, and it could have been accomplished and should have been accomplished this session.
The best thing that I heard was the one that gives the taxpayers the right to have a separate court system to hear any grievances they have against the Alabama Revenue Department. I think that was a positive step. I agree with Ms. Seymour that having the waterworks bill fail was probably the worst thing that happened at this time. I think the residents of surrounding areas would be better served to have representation.
I think the best thing that passed was getting the education bill passed, although it happened on the eve of the close of the session, and it wasn't exactly how it was originally intended. Our teachers did not get the 2% raise that we had all hoped for. However, not only the teachers but the retirees in the district were allowed a $780 benefit per month to make up for the increased premiums and copays that Obamacare has imposed upon them. So for me, getting the education bill was the best thing passed. Now, we may have to go back and revisit that issue, but for now it's been passed. The thing that I think that I wish had been passed also was with regard to Birmingham Water Works. Mr. Wagner's bill seemed to be right on target with what we need, needing to have oversight, needing to have caps on pay, needing to have people in the community involved, needing a vote if there's going to be a rate increase, and let the taxpayers vote on that.
Those things that passed that were positive certainly were the 48-hour reflection in relation to life decisions, business issues and reduction of red tape, things that help business, the process for taxpayers to have a recourse against revenue tax-related decisions to be able to appeal those. Those are good things. There are obviously some others that probably don't come to mind at this point. However, the greatest problem we had in that legislature this year is the inability and the unwillingness of the leadership and the members of the legislature to address key issues facing our state. Medicaid and prisons are massive issues, and to be unwilling to address those in an election year because they're controversial is inappropriate and unacceptable. We can't leave our new legislature coming in the next session an $86 million shortfall because of what we did in an education budget. We've got to be responsible and willing to do what is necessary and make the hard decisions.
The legislature, they do like they've always done, like they did back in the 1980s. They wait to the very last before they start trying to play, and they call it play baseball. And that's where they bring up their own individual bills and try to get their own individual bills passed, and that keeps a lot of other bills from passing and from having time to pass. The bill that I'd like to see passed first, as the law demands, is the budget. And we always play footsie with the budget to the very last, then they come out with 15 seconds left, and I got 30, but they come out with 15 seconds left and expect the people to pass it. If you're not on the budget committee, you don't even know what's in it, so how can you vote to pass something you know what's in it? So that's the bill that I'd like to see passed. The best bill I think is passed was the education bill, because we have got to keep our children and our education funded.
I think there's three issues. Waterworks obviously was very regrettable because that has been an issue for a very long time, and we have got to step up and deal with that. I also agree with Mr. Mooney that the prison system must be addressed. I work with the prison ministry, and absolutely it is a top priority. And then probably the other two that I'm excited about as an adopted person is the 48-hour reflection period and the education budget. I'm not happy that it was waited to the last minute, but I agree that that was a great thing that was passed.